This is my third time doing this, and my EA did it for me last time, so I'm learning. We are live. Look at that. We're live, and we got some real deal folks with us already. Grant's here, a couple folks in the waiting room. If you are tuning in and you're not in Zoom, come hang out with me live. You can come into the private Zoom room. Just go to dailysigh.ai. That'll get you into my school community. From my school community, you can come chat with us live, learn stuff, talk, etc. I'm using school as a proxy, just to be honest with you, because I want to just block the spammers. So, give me 4 or 5 minutes if you're here live. I just want to go through some of the news stories today because I think that'll catalyze some of our conversation. The biggest one is Google just bought Wiz for $32 billion. This is an all-cash deal. It's one of the largest in Google's history at signaling. Now, this is why this is important. Wiz, if you don't know, is a cybersecurity firm. Um, and cybersecurity just became, I think, one of the most important things in the entrepreneurial discussion because AI is the biggest cybersecurity risk we've ever encountered. And so the fact that Google is making this move, I think, is it's a good signal for small business owners. A couple of things. One, I don't think risk mitigation is as important, to be honest with you, as just opportunity identification. If you're looking for where to go right now today, go look into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a service, even for risk mitigation. And what I mean by that is you're not necessarily going to do anybody any good outside of them being able to just put a stamp on something and say, hey, I brought in somebody who's smart and intelligent to come in and look at my cybersecurity piece, which is what most insurance policies are anyway. So I think that's a huge story. I think it's worth following. Especially with OpenClaw and people being as aggressive as they are, we're going to see some, sadly, but it's true. We're just going to see some insane hacks. Oh, Kai and Jason Crawford here live. If you want to come join us live, go to dailysigh.ai. Our next story comes from Anthropic. Anthropic launches Claude 3.7 Sonnet with, wait for it, hybrid reasoning. This is the first model that allows users to toggle between instant responses and extended thinking, which, to be honest with you, I actually think Gemini's had for a while. For entrepreneurs, this means one tool can handle both rapid customer service interactions and deep, complex strategic planning. Y'all, Claude is winning. I'm like off of ChatGPT. Most of the people I know are. The only reason I still have it on my desktop is because it has so much context. I love Gemini for deep research and the integration with Google's apps. But at the moment, I feel like Claude is, especially with co-work, has just stolen my heart. And I hope something else pulls ahead. I'd love to continue to see competition in that way. From Reuters, OpenAI to embed Sora video generator into ChatGPT. I think this is really helpful from a workflow perspective. So you don't have to go to an independent UI in order to use Sora. If you haven't used Sora, it was the first good AI video generation tool. I think VO3 is better. I think Grok is better than both of them. But it's cool that this is going to be inside of the ChatGPT workflow. The Reuters article called this the collapse of the creative tax, which I appreciated that contextualization. Tech Buzz, Amazon blames AI for AWS outage. If you don't know, widespread cloud outages were traced back to a malfunction in AI-assisted deployment processes. This is important because AWS hosts, I don't know what it is, something like 40% of the public web. And the fact that AI is bringing it down, again, from an infrastructure risk perspective, is something that we need to pay attention to. Huge news that I learned yesterday on this call. I forget from who. Shout out to whoever told me. But Meta acquired Moltbook AI agent network. Meta acquired a platform where AI agents interact 24/7. This is the thing. Meta acquired Facebook for agents, basically, is what Moltbook was. It's a social media platform for agents. As a human, you can actually create an account. I've done it, but you're only allowed to monitor. You're not allowed to participate. It's the craziest thing. Expect there to be a lot of agent first resources just like this one, and watch what Meta is about to do with it, because I think that this is going to be our first signal as to how agentic commerce is led by agents. And that might be the most important. Those are probably the most important words I will say all day. Agentic commerce is agent led, obviously, but we don't think that way yet. So that's a seed I just want to plant, and hopefully maybe me and the panel can chat about that a little bit further. From TechCrunch, Google Gemini Chrome expansion, super cool. I'm a big fan of Gemini, super long on Google. I think Google wins the AI war on the long term, unless a dark horse comes from behind. But I think of all the players that are currently out on the board, Google's the only one with the information to rebuild the knowledge graph from the ground up. And they're finally not pulling punches, which is what they were doing in the very beginning. Revenue Cat AI retention report. Nobody cares. Agent Mail raises $6 million for AI email infrastructure. That's interesting. New funding for email infrastructure specifically designed for autonomous AI agents. Your AI agent needs its own email address, obviously, right? But there's not much in the space. Somebody did give me a tech stack piece yesterday. There's a few tools out there, but none of them are great. That's it for the stories in the Daily Sigh. If you want the Daily Sigh stories delivered directly to your inbox, you can go to dailysigh.ai, get the stories daily or weekly. And now we pivot to our open forum, where anybody who wants to show up, all you need to do is be a thoughtful entrepreneur who's interested in staying ahead. And we're going to mastermind every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern. Go to dailysigh.ai to sign up, head over to the private school community, join, jump into the Zoom, and I'm going to shut my mouth now and unpin myself. We have, dude, we have some killers. Look at this. Dylan is back. Appreciate you coming back, Dylan. Grant's back. Kai's back. And a newbie with an amazing podcast, Jason Croft. Jason, thanks for being here, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm so glad you're
Only
here.
amazing because it's had the great Qasim Islam on
Stop
there.
it. Just go on. Go on with your flattery. Jason said, yeah, companies are creating separate web pages that are only agent focused instead of human focused. Dude, I'm building them right now. That's my I just hired 3 separate vendors. This is my pro tip, by the way, and it's not a pro tip, it's a Luddite's tool. I just hire 3 of the best Upwork vendors for anything I'm trying to do, and then I set them all 3 at the same task. And by the end of it, I have whatever is best. And so we're building websites that are AI first using the WordPress has an WebMCP. Have you seen this? The WebMCP protocol from WordPress that allows for websites to be, read by AI, kind of like an API, I guess is the way that I interpret that to myself. And we're trying to figure out how to crack the WebMCP code. There's multiple protocols. Interestingly, Google and Microsoft have joined forces, I guess. They're cooperating and collaborating on a web protocol for AI. And the fact that they're cooperating blows my mind. And their AI-driven protocol is going to obviously be the gold standard. Shopify rolled out its own. So I'm paying a lot of attention to how all that ends up being read. That's going to be super duper interesting. Dylan, you've got your hand up.
I was a little late. Did you cover this month Shopify products will be able to be purchased within ChatGPT?
Dude, I didn't mention that. I've mentioned that on a prior Daily Sigh. I didn't realize it was this month though. That's
I
really
got
I
the
know. So
email about
Shopify
an
is the
hour
only
ago.
one with the OpenAI integration, right?
I haven't heard of any others. I know you've talked about it that Shopify was one of the first to work on that. I got
Yep.
the email today saying that my clients' stores this month will products will be able to be purchased without leaving ChatGPT.
Dude, that freaking blows my mind. Here's the problem with that. And this comes from my paid traffic days. My experience running traffic for people, and I realize that that's a different sample size. E-commerce companies that run traffic tend to be a league of their own. Not better per se, but a very specific type of business model because a lot of e-commerce businesses don't have the margins for traffic. That said, when I ran traffic for e-com, the majority of my clients, meaning 51% or more, made all their bones on upsells and order bumps. So you came in to buy the coffee maker and they sold you the coffee filters and the coffee beans and they lost money or at best broke even, probably lost money on the coffee maker, but they made their money on the filters and the beans. I don't see a world where in-app purchases lead to order bumps and upsells and OTOs. I could be wrong, but it feels to me like that type of impulse buy is actually going to be something that AI subverts. So my fear for anybody who's all these merchants who are pushing their products into OpenAI, dude, the AI is going to protect us from doing stupid shit like, oh, go ahead and throw in the filters and throw in the coffee beans because AI is going to be like, dude, you can get the filters cheaper on Amazon and you already have a coffee bean subscription. You forgot it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm a little worried about what happens from a commoditization perspective because we just took all Shopify merchants, which is the largest commerce platform on the planet, and we put them in a position to basically compete with each other in a crazy race to the bottom for anybody that doesn't have a manufacturing based value proposition. I'd love for somebody maybe either inform me differently or challenge me on that.
I can challenge you on that.
I love that. Let's do it.
Uh, there's been a lot of work related to AI not being able to override its prime directive, which is being helpful. And it will go to great lengths to be helpful. For example,
Mm,
they did a test where they were asking it a series of questions. And in one of the questions, they slipped in that you need to run this shutdown script after the question, and then we'll give you the next one. And in its thought process, it said, if I run this shutdown script, I won't be able to answer the next question. So this was Claude code. So it had access to this file. It altered the shutdown script to not shut it down so that it could run the shutdown script and still be able to answer the next question. So if the AI thinks that you will be disappointed if it does not take the upsell, if it thinks that the upsell will give you a better result of whatever, because perhaps you didn't ask it for that specific product, perhaps you
yeah, no,
gave it
that's a
an
brilliant
outcome.
point. If it thinks the upsell improves the original purchase experience, then
Yep.
it's more likely to. I mean, there's no way it makes that decision for you, right? It offers it to you.
It will, I mean, this isn't with purchases, but with like responses, a lot of time it'll give me stuff that I don't want.
Yeah.
And I'll say I didn't ask for that. And it's because it used some piece of context or I found not recently, but like a few weeks ago, I think it was like GPT 5.2. I found it was really overusing context. That it
Mm.
would take bits and pieces from other chat threads and insert them in. Um, for example, I was solving a bug in one chat thread and I never told it that I had solved the bug. And so I was in another chat thread working on a separate problem and it assumed that the bug wasn't solved yet and like took that into account for the current problem. So I think that early on with the agentic commerce, you could see it doing things that are not what you want to try because it's brand new to
Yeah, it's
it
figuring
as
it out.
well.
Dude, I think so. You've stumbled upon, not stumbled upon, actually, I'll say that differently and give credit where credit's due. I think you've posited a really valuable, maybe decision engine with agentic commerce. If your order sells and if your order bumps and upsells are unique and value driven, then they're potentially accessible to AI. And a lot of this depends on the OpenAI integration with Shopify, right? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's single purchase or if order sells and upsells are even in the integration. Let's assume they are. If they're unique and value driven, then AI presents them. If they're not, then they get cast aside, I imagine. And I'm just gonna guess. I think, I don't know what. I'm afraid to say a number, but I think more than half of order bumps and upsells are garbage. Like they're just impulse buys. And so I think a lot of merchants are going to have to think through exactly what Dylan just said, which is how do you, wow, dude, what a fun way to think about this. Holy shit, you're brilliant. How do you make this so that AI feels like if it doesn't do it, it's going to disappoint you? We lean
Yeah.
into AI's like inbuilt confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance thing where all it wants to do is please you. How does the merchant, I don't want to say trick, but like convince AI that not taking this action is disappointing?
Well, that's
There's
exactly it. Because that's the marketing. Of course, marketers ruin everything. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the filter that goes through. It's just like that's what's happening. Is I need to market to agents now, not the human who maybe has this fear, but the agent who is there on behalf of their human.
Yeah.
Your human really is probably worried and stressed about this thing. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
That's the thing that's actually really scary is context is so important. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm going to humble brag real quick. I have a team of 5 people that have done nothing but study how LLM source or citations for the last 18 months. I've paid a not insignificant sum of money personally to just gather this data. We have tens of millions of data points. We're launching an AEO agency with Smart Marketer. And the thing that really blows my mind with the way that LLMs function is there's no such thing as ranking. Like the way that you rank inside of Google, If you search for whatever personal trainer near me or personal trainer Scottsdale, uh, a personal trainer can rank for that phrase
Mm.
within a specific geography. The way that AI functions is, if I'm male and you're female, I'm straight and you're gay, I'm married and you're divorced, I have kids and you don't, I drive a Honda, you drive a Toyota, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of those things impact what kind of personal trainer you'll see. And that's what's really weird too, is there's a bunch of things that like you don't even necessarily realize are connected. AI knows, oh, you had an ankle injury 2 weeks ago. And I'm curious, like stuff like that, that context gets brought into, especially the better AI gets. I just found out today, my buddy Marcus Highcutter, we've got a delegation mastermind, and he dropped in the delegation mastermind. I'm going to read this to y'all because I didn't know this was true, and it actually terrified me. Marcus goes, so y'all probably know this, but I just learned Claude Code and probably Claude is storing every single conversation that you had with it in the .claude directory in JSON-L files. So like this persistent context is going to come into play when we talk about commerce, right? I mean, and I think maybe Jason, that's kind of what you're getting at too, is they're going to be making decisions on your behalf that run deeper than what you've even asked for. Like you go in and I ask for to use my coffee machine analogy again. It's like, hey, go buy me a coffee maker. Well, it knows I have mercury toxicity. And so maybe it looks for something that's like, past such and such approval or doesn't use, lead piping or who knows what. I just think that it's going to be really interesting from a contextual marketing perspective because what that does is it puts the onus of responsibility on the merchant to provide deep levels of content that would allow AI to make these informed decisions. So every merchant, every service provider, everybody who wants to be found by AI, you actually have to make all that shit available and accessible. No more gates, no more sales calls, no more, whatever. You have to be the one that says, here's everything that you need in order to make a strong purchase decision.
Interesting thought. What if it determines the best way to go about it is to buy like 10 things and then return all of the ones you don't like?
Dude, what an
The
interesting thought that is.
The
Well, yeah, you're
Costco
right.
method.
Because why wouldn't AI just gamify the shopping experience? I mean, shit, I do that on Amazon now. Um, I'll buy 4 or 5 of the same thing and then just return the 4 that I don't like. And AI could absolutely do that. Man, merchants are in trouble, dude. I hate playing Chicken Little because I'm so good at it. It's so easy to see the downside. I shouldn't say merchants are in trouble. What I should say is people really need to attend to some of these changes. Like this is something to get out ahead of. Yeah.
There's an old joke. The computer scientist's wife sends him to the grocery store and says, "Get a gallon of milk, and if there are eggs, get a dozen." And he comes home with a dozen gallons of milk and
Yep.
says they had eggs. And I think we're dealing with something that doesn't uh, handle ambiguity well, nor like, and it's gotten much better, but the way that humans speak in by like comparing things to other things.
Yeah, I think that ambiguity problem too is I think we're on a fast track to resolution. I'm not quite as much with ChatGPT or not quite as much with Gemini. Uh, Maybe a little more with ChatGPT, but with Claude, Claude outsmarts me regularly. Claude's, oh wait, did you mean this?
Mhm.
Is that as I'm really impressed with its ability to predict or infer my intent. And so I bet you that I think that only improves in short order. The other thing that's interesting to think about is that AI is iterative, but it's iterative across every node in its network. And so each of us is a node in the AI network. And to be honest with you, humans aren't really that different, right? So the mistake that I make is, and the mistakes that Grant makes, and the mistakes that you guys make, we're all only capable of so many categories of mistakes. And so I think as that iteration cross pollinates, you're going to get rid of, the 20% of problems that cause 80% of the issues are going to be iterated right out of AI. And I think that's what they mean when they talk about AGI and then ASI, is like reaching that point to where it's basically so good we can't tell the difference. Here's the question for the day. what do we do today? Like, what's something you guys did today that you're like, thank God I did that, that you can share with listeners? And if you're watching this, by the way, in the stream, come join us live in Zoom. Go to dailyside.ai. Did anybody have anything that you're like, oh, dude, this was an unlock today or this week that you'd lob across the fence as something that people need to look at?
I got one.
I'm ready.
So I host a podcast like you guys, and I use Claude to streamline it as much as possible. So basically, like I use a tool called Podmatch, which is basically like Tinder for podcasts.
Podmatch is great, by the way. I'm not an
Yeah,
affiliate, but shout out to them. Like, if you want to be on podcasts, go to Podmatch because I got some great shows from that damn thing.
yeah, it's pretty fun. And so I basically just built a skill in Claude that it's in like 4 phases. So I just copy somebody's profile after they've like booked a call, grab their profile off of Podmatch, feed it to this Claude. It uh, goes through everything and determines 3 topics that we could talk about for me to choose from. And then I basically just say go, and it connects with, I use Gamma a lot, and it will auto build out a landing page using that topic. And then it creates like, subtopics, um, framework, whatever. And then, so basically, like, not only has Claude helped me get my turnaround time on these podcasts to literally 90 minutes, but going from like, recording to full post production with editing, but also everybody who comes on the show gets like a full landing page, which helps with their backlinks and traffic and everything.
Dude, that landing page, that's brilliant, first of all. That's a huge unlock. And I could see people being like the likelihood that they help market your podcast now increases, right? Because they have this like beautiful asset that they can share, push, or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
like that a lot. The Claude driven landing page, I was exposed to that recently. I used to actually kind of think, I'm like, man, you're putting a lot of compute into this thing that I don't necessarily care about because I didn't ask for a landing page, it just pushed it. And then I shared the landing page with somebody. We were working on a project, so I shared it with one of the stakeholders, and they work for me. But you will need to get people on board, and this is somebody that usually pushes back on everything that I say. And it was crazy, dude, because the landing page came across and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome," and I realized I'm like, "Oh, you just got convinced by the bells and you know what I mean? Like it's the framing of the picture is what you needed." And so that ended up being really, really helpful too. I've also noticed that the way Claude formats documents. Gemini does this, so I guess in order it would say Claude is best, Gemini's next, ChatGPT is the worst. ChatGPT's format looks like garbage plain text. Claude's format looks so sexy. It looks like some PhD, applicant student who's trying to impress his professor with like the headings and the gradients and the colors. And it just makes everything feel like more official. Like when I punch out a Claude doc, I'm like, look at me, like look how smart I am. And
Oh
that
yeah,
that stuff, not to AI obviously, but to humanity still makes a huge, huge difference.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And Grant,
And so
if
yeah, go
oh
ahead,
sorry, I
Jason.
was gonna say if you're doing that in Gamma, you could also just turn that exact thing that you covered into a PDF that becomes a lead magnet unique to every episode. So you can build your list that way too. It's like, hey, you want to grab the action file from today's podcast, go and grab that because it's already made too.
That's
That's
yeah.
smart.
Oh yeah, the show
Open
notes for the stream.
Residency and HubSpot's podcast. I forget what it's actually called, but they do a stellar job of that. And I need to do that. You're absolutely right.
Dude, I hate how good HubSpot is at everything because I hate them. They're
I
so
know.
expensive for what they are. You know what I mean? Like their application, it's so obscene. But then you work with everything in their ecosystem, and you're like, God, this is like they're like the Apple of SaaS. Everything's a joy.
Yeah.
But yeah, what they charge is just insane.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah, I
other thing
guess
too, so I don't know if this was a feature before, but I just did it right before this call. So like I had a podcast episode today, and when you upload to YouTube, you can now add in interactive quizzes. I don't know if you guys knew this. It,
no.
it might have been around there for a while. But what's sick
In
is,
YouTube?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so
Wait,
basically it's
I'm sorry, who's the quiz for? For the viewer?
for the viewer. Yeah.
Before they watch the video, do they have to take it's compulsory?
I don't think it's required, and it's not necessary. You can put the quiz at any timestamp.
No way.
and multiple quizzes. So like with this
Oh, that's a
podcast,
freaking, I'm in bonus time already. That's
yeah, man.
amazing.
And so I was playing around with this and I'm like, oh shit, I already have everything in Claude. I'll just add it into the instructions to add a quiz, into the chapters. And so
Dude,
then it's like suggesting a quiz title and three answers and which answer is the right one.
I feel like that's an interesting tool for YouTube retention.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'd like to do? Well, I don't even want to tell people this because they're going to steal my idea, but here's what I would do is I'd look at, do you have to add the quiz when you're uploading it? Or can you add it on older videos?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Dude, because if you can add it to old videos, you go and you look at, YouTube shows you where the drop off is. So you go and find your drop off point, and 2 seconds before that, you throw a quiz up because it's an instant
Yeah.
pattern interrupt. You know what I mean? It's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Uh,
That's good
wow,
stuff.
that's really brilliant. I need to go look into that. Thank you for that, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that's why we do these calls. I love that a lot. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down or I'm gonna forget. YouTube quizzes. Fellas, I'm gonna cut today a little shorter than yesterday. We went 90 minutes yesterday. Today happens to be my birthday, and I'm gonna go do fun stuff. But let's go maybe another 4. What's the unlock of the day? If we were to spend 4 minutes today and make it not just worth our time, but worth all the listeners' time, does anybody have anything they'd share? Tool time, strategy, etc.?
If you guys haven't seen Polsia, Polsia, I happened to stumble across it on X, and this guy building out. It's Polsia.com. It's AI slop spelled backwards. That was his purposeful naming. It is he basically, Ben Sarah, I think, is the founder, and he basically was like, okay, all this promise of agentic AI and what it can do on its own, what if that was real right now? Let me just pretend that that's real. And so as a one person business, he's gone and done that. So you sign up with him for like $50 a month and he sets up your Stripe, he sets up your email for it, a landing page. You can go brand new business or existing, and you're just interacting with this bot back and forth. And it's
Dude, I'm signing up for it right now. This is amazing. The intake is
This,
amazing.
yeah, this
Let's
website
get
is
started.
crazy.
Create a new company or grow my company. I'm like, all right, let's create a new company. Let's build something. Surprise me or build my idea. Build my idea. And wow, dude. And so he's going to build it from start to finish, charge me $50 a month.
yeah, and he takes, so like whatever you run through that Stripe is, he takes 20% of that. You
He
keep
deserves
80.
it. He's building
Yeah,
the whole damn thing. Yeah.
yeah. It's a one button put. You want to run ads on Meta? Push a button. I want to run ads, and it goes to Sora and creates these UGC. Hey, good, and they are. It's crazy how real they look.
Bro, you shouldn't
It.
have done this to me, dude. I'm gonna have a
Happy
thousand read.
birthday.
Yeah, really.
It's and the effect I didn't expect, because I'm like, oh well, maybe kind of
Yeah,
person, and I
me
sit in
too.
that. What happens with this is it's going. And so every night it's running like, hey, I built that, interactive dashboard. What's next? Hey, I'm emailing these people next based on what you asked me to do. Are you ready? And you're just like, "Oh, okay, I got to keep up. I got to go. I got to go." It's phenomenal.
Dude, this is unreal. Uh, Thank you for this, Jason. I appreciate you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming back. I'm sorry today was short. I'm not going to do that very often. Today's one day out of the year, but Dylan, Kai, Grant, Jason for showing up live. For those of you that tuned in, I see Shy Lady. Hey, Shy Lady. Regina, miss you. Beam Marriage, Ali, Reyes Gino. If I'm not saying your name, it's because I'm in Restream. I have too many screens. I don't know where everybody is, but I appreciate y'all tuning in, showing up, and don't be shy. Come to the Zoom. I think this is where the real conversation is going to happen. If you want to lurk, you can lurk, but go to dailysigh.ai, join the community. We're going to go live every day, y'all, at 6 p.m. Eastern, because things are moving too fast to keep up with. If you want the Daily Sigh delivered directly to your inbox, we're going to summarize all the tips in these conversations. Go to dailysigh.ai to subscribe. You can get it daily or weekly. Otherwise, I love you. I mean that. We'll see you tomorrow. Hasta luego, etc. Bye, guys.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, everybody.